Thank you so much for joining the Dr. Whisperer podcast show. I am your host, Sharon Feckety, and you are here to listen to others talk about the business of medicine. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with somebody else that is in the business of medicine so we can all learn together. Thank you for being here and enjoy the show. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Before I hit record, I've been bitching about doctors. To be honest with you, it's been a rough week and a half for me as the Doctor Whisperer. I've had some doctors say some crazy shit to me, if I'm being honest, like asking me to barter my services. Like, I would never ask a doctor to barter services. I would think they'd be offended.
I hate that. I get that sometimes too.
I mean, isn't that so insulting to you?
God, yeah. I mean, yes, it is.
I mean, yes. Right. Let's just say, yeah, it is.
I mean, unless it's something amazing, like, hey, like I have this
private jet.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll barter with that. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Like something of substance to offer me. Yeah.
Right. You want something that they're offering, but when it's something so ridiculous, it's like, no. Yeah. I get offered commission too a lot. And I'm like, well, that's also interesting. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But so it's Dr. Mudgil, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Let's start with that.
It's good to be back. Always happy.
So, yeah, well, I've said it before. He's my favorite doc, and we've never met in person, so that's even better.
Yeah, it's a true virtual. Like, what has it been like?
2 years,
4 years now. 4 years
before the pandemic.
Yeah, from before the pandemic, right? So 2019. 4 years.
Yeah, you remember how I found you?
Yes, the Gary V podcast. Actually, so this is exactly when it was. It was the Gary V podcast on New Year's Eve of going from 2019 to 2020, I think, or maybe it was 2018 to 2019. Actually, 2018 to 2019.
Yes.
And then you reached out to me right after that. So that, yeah, 2018 is actually when you.
Okay, but who was the person that I heard you interview that made me become obsessed?
You heard me on Gary V's podcast, and then you did a little deep dive on me, and then you heard my mom's podcast, which is my very first podcast. And I'm actually, after we're done with this, I'm recording episode 74, 73, 74 of my podcast.
Sweet.
Finish this podcast. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you and your mom, that was everything to me. I'm like, I need to know who this doctor is. And you've really grown leaps and bounds since then, not just your podcast show, but I'm pretty sure you're up to 2 million followers on TikTok.
3.
Boo, yeah. Shut me up. And I don't know, what, you had 400,000 followers on Instagram?
I'm hovering a little over 3.
I was trying to make, I was pushing you to 4. 3 plus.
By the end of the year, I'll be there.
I love it. But you have gone hard. Okay. So we're going to start there, right? Because like I gotta dispel this anger thing. I don't really like how it feels inside of me. Let's talk about things that are great first, right? Let's talk about how you've done what you've done. I love your story of you thanked your wife recently because it's 14 years for you in the practice, for encouraging you to go all in and open a practice.
To which she said, you're like, 14 years, it's kind of random. Like you're going like all out for your 14-year anniversary. Like, what are you doing for 15 years? I said, well, I mean, I'm very big on my birthday in general also. So I like to just celebrate any milestone.
Heck yeah. Good for you.
Why not?
Why not? But she was like, listen, let's go all in. Just take all that money and let's dive ourselves deep into debt and do the thing that you've always wanted to do and open that practice on Fifth Ave. So kudos to your wife.
Kudos to her. I mean, listen, we came from very different backgrounds. She came from a more business, financially robust background. Her dad was a doctor, but very entrepreneurial. They were in the nursing home business and literally like really just crushed it. They were really just amazing business folk, and it was just, and I think throughout her life, she saw her parents take these tremendous risks. I mean, on a much, much bigger scale than I've ever taken in my life. And then, like struggle through those, those tough times and like make it out on top and just go back into the hole and come back out and go back to the hole and come back out just to like, build this bigger and bigger empire. So for me, it was the exact opposite. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday. I used a driver when I go to the city. They're all retired NYPD police officers.
I
And
love
we're
it.
just like joking around about like cops and donuts and stuff. And he does love donuts. He did admit that to me. But I told him, I was like, it's funny because when I was growing up, we would get Dunkin' Donuts once a month. So when there was a coupon in the penny saver that was buy six,
The
get six
penny
free,
saver.
we used to get donuts. It was like a big treat to get donuts once a month,
Yeah.
But that was my upbringing. It was like, we took the
Right.
bus from New York to Disney, which was
Right.
the worst,
Oh my God.
all kinds of shit like that. So like it was,
Right.
it was very different. So I was very risk averse, right? So for me, I had this scarcity mindset, like, hey, I got to keep whatever I make, I got to hold on to it and be like very conservative with it. And she had an abundance mindset, like, hey, like, you use money to make money, you use resources to create more resources, which was a very novel concept to me because I didn't grow up like that. So the time when we got married was a really hot real estate market, and we lived in an apartment which I actually made my wife buy with me, which was, I love jazz, and Art Blakey is a famous jazz drummer, lived in that apartment. It was a total shithole. And that was 2004, and 2006 my wife was pregnant with our first, and that apartment was not fit for a child. So she's like, we need to get out of here. And so we sold it, but we made a bunch of money selling that apartment. And then we were renting. And so we were sitting on like, a pile of cash, not a ton, but, a decent amount. And I was working at the time. I just finished my fellowship. And she knew, and I wasn't happy with the place I was working. I mean, the doctor was great, everything was great. Just, it wasn't my vibe, it was just, I had no control there. I had no control of the vibe for my patients, the ambiance, all that sort of stuff. And I was frustrated. And I always wanted to practice on Fifth Avenue and down in Greenwich Village. Always my dream since I was in high school. I would like go to that neighborhood. Like, oh my God, imagine if I could have a practice here. And this space came up for sale. It was literally like $1 million. I think it was like $1.1 million for the space. I had $1.1 million. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Right.
And you had to put 40% down, which was literally like every dollar we had plus more. Like, I mean, we were scraping money together. And my wife said, listen, do this. Use every dollar we have. I had to borrow over $1 million to like, renovate the place, the mortgage and all that sort of stuff. We barely made it through the co-op because we were, we had, what we had going for us was we were both doctors. My wife's a periodontist and I'm a doctor. And we were very early in our career. So my wife was working a couple of years more than I was. So we had like her income and my new income, but we had nothing. But they took a bet on us, and my wife took a huge bet on me. And she's like, listen, I'll go 7 figures deep in debt with you with a newborn.
That's love.
Yeah, because I believe in you, and the rest is history, as I say.
That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't think I've ever dropped the F-bomb on this show.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Well, so I bring the F-bomb out in people.
Right. Well, I really do think that's beautiful. It's so important to have. You talk a lot on your show, on your Instagram, and your TikTok about, making sure that you have the right circle and mindset. And, so everything matters when you're running a business. Like and you take everything seriously. You joke around, you have a good time. Obviously, you got the cool hat on. He's a little tilted to the side. He's hip. He works out a lot. He's the doc. He's dancing on TikTok. Look at these guns.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Well, they're not anywhere near yours, but I'm working on it. But I think it's really fantastic because I do think that support, you need people around you that believe in you, that encourage you to take risks, because that's what it's about in business. You can't run scared. So, all right. So you got that. We got the wife. We love the wife. You got how many kids now?
3.
3.
Still 3. I'm not no Zemi anymore.
No more.
Yeah.
So, and you have a practice on Long Island as well, which you love dearly.
Yeah, no, it's actually no secret that I hate practicing on Long Island. I'm a city doctor. My practice in the city. It's actually a very different vibe practicing on Long Island compared to.
Tell me what it is now. So I'm from Long Island.
Yeah,
I left 18 years ago. We're both from the same place.
Yeah,
Manhattan is literally so different.
Yeah,
it's a world away.
Yeah. It's literally my practices are literally 25 miles apart, which is not a lot of distance. But culturally, it's just very different. And I grew up from Long Island, and I hated it. Actually, I hated my upbringing. I hated the town I grew up in. It was a horrible, racist town on the South Shore of Long Island, which I escaped from. I thought I would never ever come back to Long Island. But
what town was it?
Oceanside.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be there in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I
You're
grew
from
up.
like East Rockaway?
Yeah, well, East Rockaway, where everybody thinks is Far Rockaway. I'm like, no, that's where I smoked
Yeah.
weed when I was a teenager.
Yes. I remember East Rockaway. Well, it's so like the same. We grew up in the same area, basically.
Right.
Like East Rockaway, Island Park, Oceanside.
All the
South
same.
Beach, yeah. So we were pregnant with our third. We moved back to Long Island just because it's like it was not sustainable, like living in the city, 3 kids, private school, all that sort of stuff. So we moved out here to a nicer part of Long Island, to where I used to actually work when I was, like I moved like on the North Shore of Long Island, which is where I used to go to work when I was in high school.
Right.
Like I used to Valley Park cars at the restaurants I eat at now. And where I play golf, I Valley Park cars at once.
I love that.
But so we were living out here. My wife, who was a periodontist, she wanted a place of her own, understandably. She was kind of bouncing around from place to place. She's like, hey, open up an office in Long Island. We can do something together. Great idea. And also I'm a pathologist, so I needed a physical place for my lab.
Sure.
Because I was like outsourcing my slides at the time, and it was just not really cost effective because my lab had grown. So I bought a building and I made my lab there. And initially I was like working in Long Island a lot, trying to build a practice. And then I realized, like, I was working like, I think it was like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday in Long Island. So a lot.
That's a
And
lot.
I've literally whittled that down to 4 hours. I practice on Long Island
Yeah.
Tuesdays from 2 to 6 because that's all I can handle. And even that's too much for me.
But what is it? Come on. What is it?
People are different. So, like I've gotten very smart about the finances of my practice, so
Right.
everybody has a deductible or a core insurance. I have a deductible and core insurance. I pay $40,000 a year for my family's insurance and I have a $10,000 deductible. That's just the way it goes. The insurance companies are bastards.
Yes.
They basically do everything they can to maximize their profit and to like put blame on doctors. So like when I see a doctor, I get a bill and I have to pay them. And if I weren't a doctor, I would think this fucking doctor sending me a bill and I'm paying all this money for insurance. This is crazy. But the truth is that's the discounted rate that the insurance provides you, but you still have to pay out of pocket, right? So people can't really understand that concept, right?
Right.
But in Manhattan, like you tell patients, hey, you have a co-insurance or deductible. Like I need to have a credit card on file because I know you have a co-insurance or deductible, and I know that you're going to owe me money after the visit. So rather than have to use my very limited resources that are devoted to patient care to then send you a bill and you're not going to pay it, send you another bill, and it's this whole rigmarole that makes the whole process of practicing medicine incredibly inefficient and takes time away from me taking care of my patients, which is my only thing I fucking care about, practicing medicine.
Right.
And I want to, I've worked my ass off to build a practice that I have. I went to school for a million years, so yes, I want to make a good living doing what I do and focus on practicing medicine.
Right.
So in New York City, it's never questioned. It's like, okay, here's the credit card on file. I understand, blah, blah, blah. In Long Island, it's a fight to even get a copay out of a patient. Everyone fucking complains for everything. So my practice in Long Island is essentially cosmetics because folks know that it's a fee for service thing. And, surgical procedures and stuff like that. Like I really try not to see regular patients. Not because I don't love the people, like, they're my people. It's just that it's just not worth my time chasing the money or arguing with patients about a bill. Like, in my mind, I'm one of the top dermatologists in New York City. I'm not just saying that because
No, he is, everybody.
And I'm like, an asshole. Like I literally am one of the top dermatologists in New York City.
And he's not an asshole. So there, go ahead.
I know that. Like I'm on every top doctor's list. I have a huge celebrity clientele list in my New York City office. Famous people trust me with their skin. Like, just people come to see me. I'm a sought after dermatologist that happens to live in Long Island and has a practice in Hicksville. And like, it's like when patients are giving me a hard time, I'm like, go see the schmo down the block then, because do you realize how lucky you are to see me? Like, you're seeing a really high quality dermatologist in your hometown and you're giving me shit about your fucking $50 copay. I was like, I'm not gonna see you. I don't need to see you.
I'm surprised you're giving up 4 hours for that.
Every day I consider dropping it to 3 every week. I'm not kidding. So I literally,
I totally believe
3
you.
to 6. Like it's going to happen probably soon. It's just, I just can't, it drives me nuts. And it takes, there's always one patient every Tuesday. That's like a pain in the ass in Long Island. I got a patient last Tuesday that was like a nurse. And she was like so mean to my receptionist and chewing her out. And I know everything that happens in my office. So I had to go into the waiting area and
Break it up.
intervene, which is
Yeah.
like, come on, I don't need to be, I don't want to be doing that,
No. My goodness. I love that story because those Long Islanders, there's nothing like them. Just nothing like them.
It's like
Well,
it's-
I have one doctor that you met actually in New York City. I mean, she's on Park Avenue. She's all cash. There's literally
Yeah.
no way I can't even work, I feel like, with doctors that are just accepting insurance because of how unhappy they are.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the
it's,
problem for what I do is because I'm a pathologist
yeah,
also. So, like, people don't pay out of pocket for lab fees, right? So,
right,
I have a lot of doctors that send me their pathology, and
right,
I can't say, well, I'm not taking insurance. Then they'll,
right,
of course, just for their patients' benefit, send it somewhere else. So,
right,
I take insurance just for that reason.
right. Because
But
you would be all cash if you had a choice.
yeah, of course, but because I'm a pathologist, I have no choice. So I have to, and I'm on those plans. I'm obligated to see medical patients on those plans also. So
Mhm.
it's part of my contract with these damn insurance companies.
It's volunteer work. That's what you're doing.
Basically, yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally providing a service.
Yeah. All right. So let's not get heated yet. We'll leave insurance till the end, or maybe we won't talk about them because they don't care about you. They suck. And I say this to everybody. My husband works for UPS. I've told you this before. We have the best health insurance ever, and it's a disgrace because his company pays for the entire family. We don't. I had 3 prescriptions for some dental work I had done last week. I paid $5. That's it.
Right.
We have the best plan ever. I don't use my insurance. I pay my therapist out of pocket because I want the best. I want to go to people that are happy. And from what I can see in this world of insurance and people that follow that insurance card, I'm just not very happy. It's a very difficult, not even worth us getting into all of it right now because it's so hard for people to understand what it is actually like for the doctor. They think that because you're seeing all these patients and you're accepting insurance that money is literally just raining on you, raining, the fact that, they don't understand EOBs. They don't understand any of this stuff. They don't understand their plan, the difference between, Medicare and Medicaid. It's a mess.
And the line I always get is, "Well, but I have great insurance." I'm like, "No, you don't." I was like,
No,
"Your
nobody
insurance
does.
sucks."
Nobody does but
Yeah,
me.
nobody does. Yeah, and like, even if you have I think you have some kind of spectacular insurance, but even if you have good insurance, almost everybody has a deductible, which they don't
Yeah.
understand what that means, right? It's like
Right.
the patient I was arguing with, I was telling you about this nurse yesterday on Tuesday, and she's like, "No, I don't want to leave my credit card file. I already paid my copay." I was like, "I know, but you have a deductible. Like, it doesn't end there. Like this, like this. That's your copay for like part of the office visit, which is going to end up being $60 anyways. It's not like,
Right. Yeah, it's a shit show out there, people. And well, we could go on. I said we were going to be happy. So let's be happy. Let's talk about the things that you enjoy doing. So I own a small boutique social media practice because I know how important it is to be able to get your messaging out there. But I know for sure that 85% of the medical, I don't work with any doctors anymore as of Friday. I fired my last one because,
Really?
yeah, I did. I don't work with any doctors in social media. I should clarify that. I have one nurse practitioner that does, that's cash. So she's happy and she lets us do what we want. But it has to be modern. It can't, how like every doctor's office is posting like a blog that they didn't write. And they have like one,
chat GPT.
yeah, and they have like one like, it's horrible. So tell us about your, how you started that out. I mean, we mentioned it before, it was Gary V, but what made you decide like, I'm going to go all in? Because I've never met another doctor as of yet. And I've been working with doctors for a very long time that has gotten all in on their social and made a real commitment to do this. What was it?
Yeah, I mean, it actually had nothing to do with me being a dermatologist, to be honest with
Right.
you. It was more of just like a midlife crisis. I was at a point where,
Was it really a midlife crisis?
yeah,
Come on.
it
Really?
was. It really was. Yeah. So I was at
How
a
old
point
are
where
you now at a midlife crisis? Since
I'm
you know
40.
that,
I'm 48. So
when did it start though?
I want to be turning 48 in
Oh,
July. So
okay.
it started when I was like 43,
Mhm.
44. So it was the summer of 2017, actually, where I had these two practices going, my city office, my Long Island office. I had a couple of doctors and a bunch of a couple of doctors and one, or maybe one or two PAs working for me at the time. When I was working, I would see like a crazy number of patients, but I
Mhm.
had my schedule, which I've kind of still had kept consolidated, but I would see like a bunch of patients during like a block, but I also had a lot of free time during the week. So I
Mhm.
had my schedule like set up. So I had like hours of hustle and hours of free time. And during that free time, I was like just playing a lot. I was playing a lot of golf, and I had like little pockets. My kids were really little, so it's not like there was a bunch going on in terms of like sports and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Like now, I barely play golf because my boys play basketball, my daughter rides horses, and so I'd much rather watch them do their
Yeah.
thing. It's just much more
Mhm.
fun than playing golf. But at that time, there was nothing much going on.
Uh-huh.
So there was one that summer of 2017. I was during the week playing a lot of golf during the daytime hours, and for the first couple of weeks of it, I was like, wow, this is like amazing. I've really made it. I have this house in the part of Long Island that I never ever that I used to work in. I was in the service industry
Mhm.
part of like that neighborhood when I was a kid, and I was driving my fancy car to this fancy golf club where I valley park cars at like a private party once. And it was like this surreal. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I can't believe this is my life. So I did that for a couple of weeks, but I realized that when I was going to play golf, the people that were at the golf club during those hours were like the worst.
Mm.
They were like trust fund folks that like had no appreciation for like how amazing their lives were, never worked for anything. We're just kind of like entitled assholes, to be honest
Right.
with you. And I was like, this, like, it's supposed to feel great, but it really feels terrible. Like, I just felt
Mm.
like this sucks. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, I'm 43. I was 40. Yeah, I was 43 at the time. And I was like, what's like the rest of my life? I was thinking I was 42 actually. I was like, what's the rest of my life going to look like? Is it going to be like this? Or is it,
Mm.
do I want to do more of what I'm doing? So do I want to now start another practice and like build another practice and get another practice? I was like, I definitely don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do more of the same stuff. Like, it's almost like not fulfilling for me already. Like,
Mm.
again, it's the practice of dermatology actually isn't that fulfilling for me. I mean, I'm very good at it. It's very easy. It's like second nature.
Mhm.
It's the people that are fulfilling, like helping people and being part of like their lives and that sort of stuff. That's what I love about being a doctor at this point. And,
Mm.
after you do it for so long, you just get second nature to you. It's like riding a bike. Like,
Right.
I could see something complex and I can just break it down in a second, know exactly what to do. Every doctor's like
Sure.
that who's been
Mhm.
doing it for a while, right? So like doing more of that's not fun for me, and like having more business in dermatology is certainly not interesting for me. So I was like, what is my life about? Like, what is my legacy going to be for my kids? What are my kids going to remember about their dad? And it was a weird time. It took me a couple of months to actually figure it out, and talking to folks and like kind of really honing who I am. Really, it was like my real only one of the times in my life where I really focused on soul searching beyond college. Like where I really
Mm.
kind of defined who I am. And I realized like my real goal was to talk to the 8-year-old me who was like living in this racist town, getting the shit kicked out of him every
Mm.
week at like the bus stop, just this lost kid, and telling him, hey, like, I mean, I happened to course through it and everything worked out well. But for a lot of folks, it doesn't, right? Because it's
Yeah.
no one that they can look up to and say, oh shit, I want to be like that guy. I was like, God, if I had me talking to me,
Right.
like, how different would things have been? It's like, hey, you know what? This is the roadmap. This is how you do things. I happened to when I got very lucky. I met some great people, like, but my friends of mine who really kind of saved me from myself.
Mm.
I say they were my peers, but they're also my mentors. And I had a few in
Mm.
high school, a few in college, a few in med school, a few beyond that. But had it not been for those folks, it wouldn't have been so easy for me, right? Like, they really kind of showed me the way, and I listened to them.
Yeah.
So I started like, and then someone turned me on to Gary Vee. It was October of like 2017. Someone turned me on to Gary Vee. So I read a bunch of his books and started consuming some of his media. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, social media is like, I would post, but not really. It was all bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to really use social media to like empower people. And around that time, I had like a big fitness transformation. A lot of things kind of just aligned at that time in my life to say, wow, it's like fitness was actually the most powerful thing for me, much more powerful than like business or being a doctor or any of that stuff.
And that was
Because
like a dare with your brother-in-law or
that
something,
was the
right?
year with my brother-in-law in like Thanksgiving of 2012. Yes, it's all in that book. And like, I was always like a skinny fat who was like very embarrassed of his body. You know, I'd like see
Mhm.
guys in like the locker room at gym class and that were like jacked. I was like, holy shit, how do people get like that? That's crazy.
Right.
And I was just like, I resigned to the fact that I'm just genetically not capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I will never do that. Like it's just not possible for me.
Hmm.
But what I really like went hardcore into. I'm not gonna tell the details of it, but over the course of at that point, it was like um probably like 5 or 6 years into my fitness journey, and I got in like really good shape. I'm in much even better shape now. You know, every year I try to get better and better. But having gone through that and realizing that, wow, if I could do like that, like, you know,
Mm.
anybody can transform their body as long as they're willing. And it was an insane amount of work, a lot of like
Mm.
obsession and compulsion and just
Mhm.
literally insanity, like on the brink of insanity. But I went balls to the wall and I made this crazy change in my body. And, you know, I realized then kind of like using that and like kind of backtracking in my life. I'd done that a few times. Like I did it academically. I did it, you know, there's a few things in my life that I was like, oh shit, that kind of is my personality. Like I'm this guy who like will really commit to something and just get a little crazy and like, you know, really see it to fulminance, right?
Mhm.
So all of those things were kind of happening at the same time, talking to some folks and that, and you know, the realizing like, you know, that's my message. My message is to empower people to really, you know, like literally using myself as an example. Like I'm not some genetically gifted person, but I really work hard for everything I have, and I've achieved, you know, like listen, not a lot for
He's
me,
achieved
right?
a lot. Come on. A lot.
So, and
I
I
listened to
started,
your mom, remember?
so yeah, so I started posting to social media literally every day, and I went to Gary Vee's like, you know, 4D session, all that stuff. That was in May of 2018.
Mhm.
Um, so you actually probably heard that podcast 2018 to 2019 because that's when they posted it.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so I literally have posted every single
Every
day to
day,
Instagram.
man.
I haven't missed one single day since March of 2018.
That's
That's
crazy.
literally
Man.
over 5 years. I've
Woo!
never missed one day of posting to Instagram. I've started a YouTube
That's a
channel.
weekend too?
I started every single 7 days a week for 5 years. You can scroll through my feed. You'll
I
see
believe
posts
you.
every single day for I've never missed a day, even if I'm in India, traveling with my family, even if I'm sick, you know, I've
Mhm.
never missed a day. Never, ever missed a day.
You know, every doctor listening or watching knows that your traditional insurance only goes so far. Your malpractice only goes so far. So there's real risks that can actually keep you up at night. You know that. I know that. I've watched you stressed out the next day from all of these insurance issues. Well, SRA 831B admin helps you mitigate these risks and lower your tax liability by putting money into a vehicle that is tax advantage to self-insure risks that fall out of your traditional property and casualty insurance. I would not have them as a sponsor if I did not believe 100% that they can actually help you. So to find out more information, please check out the website that is in the show notes. Contact them today. I promise you won't regret it.
I post to TikTok twice daily. I post to YouTube almost every day at this point now also.
But you have help. So I want to, I guess I know this story and I watch you, and believe me, he goes hard, way harder than I ever have and ever will. But I know that you have somebody. Did you hired somebody? I think that you went through maybe some other people. You know, you took it really seriously. All of the content is you, because that's why people follow you. They're not interested.
Yeah.
Like, you're the magic. I try to tell.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of docs in my life where I'm like, listen, you're the magic, and that's why people come to see you. That's what it's all about. So that you have to be that on social media too. You can't just keep posting like, you know, Monday mantras and shit.
Right.
You really have to be a part of it, get on video, be uncomfortable. So
Yeah, so that's a good point, actually. So Gary Vee's advice to me was, if you have the resources, because I was editing everything and doing everything myself, which is like incredibly time consuming. I'm like not some computer whiz, you know. So Gary said, if you have the resources to deploy, hire a videographer. And
yeah.
so the next day I put an ad on Craigslist and I hired a videographer, and we would just make content. So if you look at my old content from like 2018, it's like terrible, you know, it's like,
It's not that terrible.
but it's
Like,
pretty bad. But I leave it all on there. I've never taken like a post down or like, airbrushed my social media because I want
right.
folks to see the progression. That's also a
Sure.
big Gary Vee thing. Like Gary's like, just leave the old shit on there, and
Sure. You never
which I
know.
totally agree with. So it's literally to me and a videographer, and either document content or record content. I post everything myself, except to YouTube where Isabel helps me post, but we create everything together. I post a TikTok myself every day, like literally from my phone. Like, I post it and I write all the,
Copy. Yep.
all the copy, etc.
How long would you say you're committing to doing that a day?
5 minutes. Like I have it
That's
down.
beautiful.
I have like literally down to sets. I do it between sets when I'm working out. Or like, I'm like organized down to the minute, basically.
Right. No, with everything, with
with
how
everything,
he runs
so-
his practice, with the people that he hires, the whole thing, financials.
Yes. So, yeah, I just make it part of my daily win. I always talk about daily wins. Like that's part of my, I can't go to sleep at night unless I get my 2 TikTok posts in, my Instagram post in, that's all just part of my daily routine. But going back to what you were talking about social media, I actually had like another interview before this, and they were asking me about social media, and I said, well, listen, like, I follow a bunch of doctors on, like, I start following a bunch of them and then I stop following them because most of their content is just total trash.
Let's talk about that. Please tell me.
It's
You got to help them.
soulless. Yeah, so it's basically it's soulless content. Like it's like some old meme or just some picture of them, some glam shot, something. There's no soul to it, and like it's just garbage.
Right.
So it's not about posting at first I thought it was about posting every day, because initially when I was posting to social media, I would post every day, but it would be like, I have to get a post. I have to think of something. I got to post something. And it'd be just stupid shit. Like that was soulless. And I knew it was soulless, but I wanted to post something every day. Right. But my platforms were flat. It was, you have to like make your content authentic. Like it's got to be a representation of you. So I have a lot of patients that see me that have never met me. They're like that. Oh God, I know, like they know me because it's me. It's like, like if you see me in a post, that's who I am. It's not like, I'm not changing who I am. It's like you see me on people actually recognize me now, and like, like mostly from TikTok. But it's like they know, it's like they feel like they know me, just because they see me. Yeah, they kind of do know me. I don't know them, but they kind of know who I am.
It's wonderful. Yeah, because it's authentic. I have a lot of doctors that I see. I know I'm thinking of one in particular that says, Dr. Blank is at a conference. It's you, bro. Why are you saying that it's so stupid? It's like there's a lot of ego involved here in terms of, I don't want to come off. I hear this all the time. I don't want to come off as, I want to be professional. I don't want to do this. I want you to be as human as possible on your social media. I want you to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. And like cursing isn't horrible. This is what people do.
It's a sign of intelligence, actually.
Not according to Bill Cosby. That's a joke. Considering what he's done.
Yes.
But really, like, it is unbelievable how people are not themselves. So they try to portray something. And the absolute reason that you've done so well are 2 things. Number one, consistency. Consistency is the absolute most important thing. I just don't care about anything else. If you disappear and I look up your social and I see you once a month, I'm not interested in you, because you're not interested in putting out information for your audience, right? You're thinking more about your audience than you are thinking about pumping yourself up. You're like, how can I help you? You're helping them in every way. Your mind setting, you're talking about working out, you're talking about nutrition, you're talking about insurance, you're popping pimples. Which
so
gets
that
a
actually
lot
is what really grew my platform, so I put like a pimple popper video. When I first started YouTube, I was just kind of like messing around with different content, and we're like, well, let's try one of these pimple popper videos, and it just went like berserko. Like it really just like hundreds of thousands of views.
Amazing.
Now all the platforms are actually like kind of not really disseminating that content. You you don't really get on the algorithm. Like my TikTok has been flat at 3 million for like 6 months. Like it's not like what it used to be. I used to get like hundreds of millions of views on some videos. Now I get like a couple thousand, so they're really like not disseminating that content, which is fine. I mean, whatever. But one of my followers on YouTube, who's amazing, like, we actually have developed like a
friendship.
Yeah, but like I've never met her, so it's literally like our friendship, but a little bit more just like DMing and that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But she had the greatest line. She said, because she would come just for the pops, like she loves the pops.
Yeah.
But she said, come for the pops, stay for the inspiration. So it's, which is cool, because a lot of my followers, like especially on YouTube, will like say that they're like, oh wow, like like they love watching the pops. That's where they go. There's like this whole like world of pimple popping
Yes,
like
it's a
maniacs,
thing.
like love watching. I have zero interest in it, to be honest with you.
Me
As a
either. I don't watch
as
any of your
as a
pops.
practitioner,
Yeah.
but folks like it. I have a schedule every Monday. I post a pop, so like my pimple popper community like knows they go to the docs page on Monday and they check them out.
Mm.
But then they start watching my other stuff, they're like, oh shit, I didn't think about that, or that's cool, or
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
got to bring them in. You
yeah,
got to bring them
exactly.
in.
So that's like my hook, and then I reel them in.
I love it. So, and a lot of, let's really help some people out there today. I get this question a lot. How long is it going to take for me to see something from this social media? I get that a lot. The focus is always on the followers. They don't, and I know as soon as somebody opens up a business and they have 25,000 followers in 5 seconds, I know you've paid for all of them.
Yeah.
We're not idiots anymore. This is a world of transparency and authenticity. So, I don't like to talk about how it translates into dollars. Like it is
It doesn't really, though, to be honest with you. So it's like this really weird thing where it's not like I have a really busy practice to begin with anyways. I had a really busy practice when I started practicing started by social media stuff. So it's not like I've gotten busier because of it. It's not like it's generating revenue for my practice. In fact, it's probably detracting revenue for my practice because I put so much money into it.
So then why do you
Um,
do it?
I like it.
Yeah.
So I like it, and I'm really trying to do something bigger.
Mhm.
And I don't know what that is. A lot of opportunities have presented themselves to me through social media, like really cool things.
Well, let's stop
Um,
right there because that's a big deal. It's the same thing with me. Like I have been asked to speak at conferences because of what I post on social media.
yeah,
I don't have to sell myself so much because I have all this third party credibility
yeah.
of being on the shows, of writing the book, of putting content out, of being authentic, of being vulnerable, saying the things that people won't say. And then these amazing relationships develop or these opportunities, like you mentioned. So, okay, you like it and opportunities have come up.
Yeah. And I do get patients from it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've literally patients flying from all over the country to like have me take their cysts out and stuff, because which is funny. Like I think it's actually,
Right. But that didn't happen for how long? How long?
oh, I mean, years.
Years,
Yeah.
right. You got to go hard,
Yeah.
people, for years. This isn't
Yeah.
like I'm going to post a picture of my staff. We
Well,
love
so
them.
I get asked this question all the time too. Obviously, like folks like, hey, can you help with my social media? Can you help me with my social media? I'm like, of course. This is exactly what I do. I
Right.
post to Instagram every day. I post to TikTok twice a day. I post to YouTube 6 or 7 times a week.
And what do they
Um,
say? I can guess.
okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna do that. No one ever does it. It's like I forget who said this. I think I don't know if it was Gary Vee or somebody else, but they're like, listen, I give people the playbook all the time, like the
Yeah.
exact. I know no one's gonna execute it.
Nobody. Yeah.
Um,
It's so true. I mean, I say that I give all my secrets away for free because I know nobody's going to do it. I know how hard I work. And I would say, and I don't know if you agree with this, but a lot of, I've read your book, you've read my book. I come from a lot of adversity. I have survived a lot of traumatic things in my life. And I believe that I was given this unbelievable second, third, fourth, ninth chance at life. And I would be doing not only a disservice to a higher source, but really myself, if I didn't go hard, if I didn't try everything, if I didn't say, yeah, I can be a keynote speaker and then get booked as a keynote speaker. Like, and it doesn't, you really have to believe in yourself first, right? So talk to me about that, because I do think that the people that I like the most, this is just the truth. Just like you were talking about the assholes at the country club that were privileged. You don't vibe with them. You have become very successful in your life, but you don't vibe with them. I literally have gone and done the most unbelievable things in my life and have hung and been at the most amazing places. I could give literally two shits. I want to talk to somebody about real stuff, about like how we could improve, the world or put a dent in it. So
It's
do
funny.
you identify with that?
Yeah, totally, 1,000%. So one of my close friends, he he's he's a dermatologist also, and he always tells me he's like, man, he's like, anytime I take you to like to like the worst place, like a non-fancy place, it's like you love it, you know. So
Yeah.
there's this place, and I'm not saying this is a worse place or a terrible place, but we went to this place called Yardbird, which I guess is a chain. It's like a sports bar type chain.
Mm-hmm.
And we went there, there's beers on tap, and like I love nachos. There's like nachos, and like, you know, we went there after playing golf once. I was like, just because I guess we couldn't get into any other fancy place, there was like no reservations or something. I was
Uh-huh.
like, dude, I was like, this is the best place, man. I was like, this is amazing. You know, he's like, and he started laughing because he's like, he took me like Outback once after we played golf, because we, like, again, probably couldn't get a reservation anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, I was like, this is awesome,
Good.
man. I was like, love this. This place is great. Like,
Tangy
why
tomato
doesn't
on that salad
why
is
doesn't
so
everybody
good.
come here? Like, this is amazing, you know. But like that's how I kind of feel. Like I'm like my people are like not the fancy hoity-toity country club folk. All I do belong to a country club, with full disclosure, and I do fancy restaurants and that sort of stuff. But I
No
can tell you,
judgment.
but like I never go. I almost never go. Almost never use it. Like I use it as a place to play golf when
But the other side of that too is like, I grew up with humble beginnings. I say humble beginnings. I went to private school in Long Island, so it wasn't so humble.
yeah.
But I smoked crack in Detroit, Michigan, so that's pretty humble. And I went through a lot of traumatic things in my life, even though I came from what some might consider some sort of privilege. But we were just comparing the size of my house that I grew up in compared to like what I'm living in now.
Yeah.
I thought my house was humongous growing up. I mean, because we had a basement and we had a first floor and a second floor and an attic, and it's less square footage than, the house that I'm in now and my parents as well. But I really think that when you meet somebody that is successful like yourself and has really built a beautiful business and is, giving so much information away for free on the internet, that you have never lost that sense of who you were. You've never forgotten where you came from, because that's what keeps you nice. That's what makes you a good person. Like, I am so attracted to that in other people. And I have so many amazing doctors that I actually adore that, I mean, I went to visit in December and we were eating at I don't know. Oh, it was called the Robert, we were overlooking Central Park and we had beautiful things. But most of these really successful people have really come from a place of, just not even wanting to become a doctor
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean,
struggling.
that was different for me. I was forced to be a doctor, so
Yes, you were.
I had no choice. But yeah, and also I don't want to sound like, like I'm not being completely honest. I do like fancy things. I like fancy
Oh, I
hotels.
do
I like
too.
fancy
No,
cars.
I mean,
like,
listen.
I don't. But like, I'm just saying, I'm also like, like I like regular stuff as well. You're just more sort of conventional.
Yeah, but you're down to earth, and there's literally nothing better than just somebody being down to earth, being successful. Because I've said many people just make a judgment, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've worked with some of the most successful doctors out there, and they're like, oh my God, I mean, you must be such a jerk. I don't know how you do what you do. I'm actually like the nicest people in the world, they just happen to have been successful, and your insecurity is making you say that, but cool. What else?
Going back to like, I guess I kind of got on a tangent, but like, so one of the comments I'll frequently get on YouTube is like, wow, like you seem like just such like a down to earth, like just cool person. Just not, you're a great doctor, but you seem like a cool person. And I always respond back, like, I'm just one human helping another human, like that's because truthfully, like that's really what it is, right?
Yeah.
And like, again, like I said, that's my favorite part about practicing medicine is it's not like, again, it's not the dermatology part of it, it's the human interaction and like being around, like that's what excites me. Like if I have a cool patient that I meet, or that's also what annoys me sometimes if I have someone who's like
just in Long Island on Tuesdays.
But no, I had a couple in the city yesterday too, which I want to talk about on my podcast.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's phenomenal. All right, we're going to end it with we're not going to talk about insurance today, I decided. How about that? Like, let's not do that. They're shitheads.
Listen, let me just say one thing about that.
Okay. I do like, wait, before you do that, and I hope this is where you're going. I do want you to talk about how doctors should start speaking up, because I don't think they are. Okay, good.
Not just doctors. So listen, on the patient side of things, like patients are getting fucked by their insurance companies. So
big time.
And when insurance, and then this goes back to your great insurance and like how UPS or I think pays for the great insurance. Insurance companies love you as a patient. They love you as a patient if you're healthy. So you're healthy, you're paying your premiums, you're not using the premiums that you're paying. They never have to pay out. So the insurance companies are getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier with your $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month premium, or whatever it may be that you're paying into it. But the second you get sick, and you need to start using your insurance, they wish death upon you. They want you to die as fast as you possible. Like they just want you to literally die so that they don't have to pay out for your health care. So that's literally the insurance company model. Pay your premium while you're healthy. And I learned that with my home insurance too. I had a tree that fell and there was like a big repair that needed to be made. And my insurance company dropped me the next year. Well, health insurance can't drop you, but they can fuck you in other ways. And their only goal is to maximize the price of their shares for their stockholders and whoever else invests in the insurance company. That's their fundamental goal. They don't give a shit about you as a patient. They don't give a shit about you as a doctor. So if you're a patient and you're getting fucked by your insurance company, get on your Instagram, get on your TikTok, get on YouTube, whatever your social media platform is, Twitter, and you better make that public. You better tell folks, hey, this is the bullshit that they're pulling on me. And I guarantee you, there'll be 100 people lining up telling you that same exact story. And then people will start to listen because all of our legislators are in bed with these fucking insurance companies. Every single one of them. The insurance companies are lining their pockets and they have zero incentive to make any change. All of this, even like this managed Medicare stuff, it's all bullshit. And it's using our taxpayer dollars to enrich private insurance companies. They're the absolute worst. Now, on the flip side of it, if you're a doctor, you're getting fucked by insurance. And then you're getting fucked by insurances. But patients don't care about that part of it. Like they don't care that their doctor's getting fucked. I mean, obviously, understandably, they're getting care that they're getting fucked. And they think that you as a doctor is fucking them because you're charging them like their deductible or copay or whatever. So as doctors, we need to educate our patients, and which I do on a daily basis. And we need to be vocal as a community of doctors and say, hey, United Healthcare, you're fucking me and I don't like it. And I'm going to be as vocal about this as possible because, United had some audit on me, which I posted about on YouTube and on all my other social media platforms. And I was relentless. Yes, I was relentless and they backed down. In fact, the president of United Healthcare called one of my patients, who's a very prominent insurance consultant, and said, hey, do you know this guy from New York's this dermatologist? He's like, yeah, that's my dermatologist.
I love it. You're so right.
But listen, it behooves us all, patients and doctors, to be as vocal as possible because listen, we're like the doctor has no interest in screwing over their patient. We love our patients. We are in this to help our patients. The insurance companies are the middleman that's making doctors look bad, making patients hate doctors, making doctors hate practicing medicine. And the only people that are getting hurt by all of this are doctors and patients. And those are the only people that matter when it comes to healthcare, right? You and your doctor and the relationship you have with your doctor. You're sick. You want to talk to your doctor. You want your doctor to help you. That's all a doctor wants to do too. Your doctor wants to help you get better. This insurance company in the middle is the one who's mucking it all up. And it's up to us as patients and doctors to be as vocal as possible about it so that our legislators will finally start listening to us.
How do they do that?
How do they start listening to us? Well, they all are on social media.
No. How? Yeah. I mean,
how did post? Talk about it. Listen. United Healthcare fucked me today by doing this, and then post that. That's all you have to do. That's what I do. Yeah. That's what I do. And all of us need to do that because we're living in this vacuum. Patients are in their vacuum, doctors are in their vacuum, and insurance companies are benefiting from it all. And they're literally the most evil, vile, disgusting, heartless institutions that exist. Like I said, while you're healthy, they love you. When you're sick, they want you to die. And that is a fact.
Yeah, that is the truth, everybody. He has laid it on you thick. And I'm with you 100%. I had one issue with with a doctor not too long ago. I posted it on TikTok and I got what I wanted removed from my medical record removed. I had, I don't know, some crazy amount of comments. I told them that I was posting it on TikTok. I said, I'm not going away. And that's what you have to do. You have to tell them that you're not going away because the sickest part about these insurance companies, I don't know if it's the sickest actually, is they know you're going to give up.
Yeah, exactly. I talked about it in my last podcast. You should check it out. It's about like Cigna, and there's like nefarious practices that they use, knowing that only like 5% of people will appeal a denial. And of
Yes.
those 5%, those when they appeal it, that appeal gets denied. Only like 2.5% will further try to appeal it. So they know the odds are. Listen, they have actuaries. They know the numbers. So it behooves them to like put a broad swath on denials, and knowing that only 5% of people will actually appeal it. And of those 5%, like a fraction will win the appeal because they'll push it to the end. But the more vocal we all are about this, the more important it is. I want to say one more thing before we get off this, because
Please do.
and this goes to doctors. Like, listen, I have like a million 5-star reviews all over every like platform. Like I have a great relationship with my patients, and I love my patients, and most of my patients love me. When I get a bad review, invariably, it's about a billing issue.
Mhm.
Always. It's all
Yeah.
about, like the doctor charged me this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. And this is for every doctor. Clap back, get on Google and respond back. You should read some of my responses. Are crazy.
Oh, good. I want to.
But I'm literally like, doctors' hands are tied. You can't say what the specifics of certain circumstances are. But like, it's not, if someone has a deductible, it's not the doctor's fault. It's your
Right.
insurance company that sucks. It
Yes.
has nothing to do with the doctor. And like I said, for most doctors, invariably it's some kind of billing issue that leads to like a bad review online.
Yes.
But listen, we're people too, and respond.
And nobody thinks that you're going to. That's what I
Yeah.
love. I can't wait. I'm going to put a link to your reviews on the show notes of this show. And I'm going to read some, because I can't tell you how many doctors have said to me, oh, we got to take that review off. I'm like, absolutely not. You have an opportunity to teach somebody something. So take that opportunity. If you want them back in the practice or you don't want them back in the practice, you have to speak up.
I discharge them. I have like no problem discharging patients from my practice. I do it all the time because
Who cares?
my practice.
Yeah. He's discharging everybody in Long Island, everybody. So hurry up and book an appointment.
Don't give me a hard time, because you will get discharged. But I learned that from like these awesome like posts that I would see from like a restaurant owner, that like someone like some asshole writes some review because they were entitled, and like there was like some stupid thing that the review they wrote about, and like the coffee shop or the restaurant would write this like scathing response back, which I loved. I was like, God, that's amazing.
Beautiful.
Because like no one ever sees the other side of it. Like, hey, like it's not fair. Anyone can write a review about anything, right? But you can always respond.
Absolutely. And every time that I have responded to something, I mean, people will crawl back into their little tortoise shell. I'm so sorry. I actually didn't think you'd ever read that. Well, I did, bitch. Yeah. So I appreciate that. I agree with you 100%. Don't call a lawyer and ask them to, just man up a little bit, woman up, whatever it is, respond to them. Don't take it down. Just like you said before, don't delete the negative comments that people leave. Have the conversation. That's what actually helps your algorithm too. So there's that. So listen, there's this great book, and I wore orange just so you all could see.
Look at that. Love it.
Let's get it. Hustle and grind your way to personal empowerment. I highly recommend following on social. I highly recommend reading this book. You have really made me proud over the years. I tell all of my docs about you, and I wish that they would listen to how important it is to just be real. That's what we want. That's why the patients love you. That's why the celebrities come in. That you're just real and you do good work, right? I mean, we'll put a little of that into. You did pay for like your medical license.
I have to be a very good dermatologist. Yes.
Yeah, I'm quite sure you are. Well, Dr. Cook said you were fantastic. So I do know that from personal experience. So thank you so much for being here as always. I can't wait to have you back.
I'm ready to come back anytime you want me.
Thank you. Don't forget to mitigate risk. Visit 831b.com for more information.